Hey everyone, it's Lisa from the blog farmhouseonboone.com, and today I'm sharing my What We Ate in a Week Winter Edition dinner series. This is a video I haven't shared in a while. You guys all really seem to like my What We Eat in a Week videos. I like to see other people's videos like this just because it gives me some ideas of dinner recipes and ideas that maybe I haven't tried in a while or have never tried, and so let's dive in. Now, on the first night we had sourdough skillet. I do share this recipe on my blog and I have it here on my YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description box below. I just browned up some grass-fed ground beef, carrots, garlic, and a few other veggies, and then I made the topping with sourdough starter, eggs, salt, butter, parsley, baking powder, and then just gave it a stir. Once the meat and veggies were all cooked, I added in some leftover sweet potatoes I had in the fridge. Now that's just a way that I really like to use up leftovers in a dish like this. Then I topped it with the sourdough topping and baked it. Now after it comes out of the oven, I like to top it with shredded cheese. We always shred our own cheese just because it tastes so much better than buying pre-shredded. This is such an easy go-to meal. Everyone in the family really likes it. It's a way to get your fermented grains, your veggies, and your meats all in one easy one-pot dish. I have a free ebook for 5 variations on my sourdough skillet recipe, a free ebook. You can grab that at farmhouseonboone.com/sourdough skillet. The next night we did roasted chicken and sweet potatoes. This is so easy because basically you just coat a whole chicken with coconut oil, add fresh pepper and salt and some herbs, and then just pop it into the oven. I do have a tutorial here on my channel and on my blog, again I'll link it, for how to make roasted chicken. I also just threw in some whole sweet potatoes. I do this a lot. It's the easiest way to cook up sweet potatoes. I usually make an entire bag, 3-pound bag, of sweet potatoes. And then I also, the same day, got some beans soaking for the next day's meal, which is gonna be, you'll see shortly. I just add a little bit of vinegar to that to let them soak. And then I prepped some sauerkraut because we definitely ran out and I have just a tiny bit left, so that at least by next week we'll be eating sauerkraut with all of our meals. It's such a nice side dish because once it's prepped, you can just get it out of the fridge with every meal. You don't have to do anything. And I love having that on hand at all times. Again, I have the tutorials if you want to learn how to make sauerkraut. It's essentially salt plus cabbage stuffed into a jar. It's so easy. Now I also put some broccoli on the stove to serve with our chicken and sweet potatoes. Now after we ate the chicken, I went ahead and put the bones plus some more bones that I had reserved from a previous meal into my Instant Pot and made bone broth for my white chicken chili the next day. On the third day, of course, we had the white chicken chili. I cut up some bell peppers, strained off the bone broth from the day before. Now I just left that bone broth in overnight. I like to do that. And then I used my pot to cook the beans in some water. Then I just added my diced peppers and diced onions to my homemade chicken broth. I also added about an entire bulb of garlic. Now I do that a lot. I get people asking me questions on my blog, did you really mean a whole bulb of garlic? And yes, I really meant a whole bulb of garlic. We love it. Once it cooks into that broth, it just tastes so good. I also add some fresh lime juice, as well as my cooked beans, some fresh black pepper, salt to taste. I added in my leftover chicken from the day before. Served it up with some of my raw shredded cheese, diced avocado, and a little more lime juice. Day 4, we did deer stew. So I don't know if you're deer hunters in your area. Here in Missouri, it's a big thing. So first, I used some beef bones that I had on hand from some grass-fed beef orders I did, and got some bone broth going straight away in the morning. Then I added diced celery, diced carrots, diced potatoes, and again, a lot of garlic. Next, I added some deer steaks that we got this year. My dad shot a deer and we had it processed at a local processing place, and my dad didn't want it. So we of course never turn down free meat, and I just sliced the deer steaks because it's a really good cut and put it in our stew. Next, I added my bone broth and some frozen green beans. And then I just let it simmer until it was all soft. On day 5, we had chicken pot pie. This is my sourdough chicken pot pie. It is at this moment our favorite recipe that we ever make in our home. Anytime I have guests over, I make my chicken pot pie. It is also a big favorite over on Instagram and on my blog, constantly getting people making it. Essentially, you chop up some potatoes and carrots and onions and lots of garlic and saute it in butter, add some herbs, salt and pepper, and then top it with my homemade sourdough biscuits. Now this particular night, we did have guests over, and so I did a double batch and did 2 cast iron skillets worth, and I also did not plan ahead and soak my biscuits, so they just are getting made right at the same time and they're not getting all of those great fermentation benefits. But I did make them with einkorn. This was a guest situation where it was kind of last minute and I didn't know they were coming, and so it was such a great meal to make on the fly like that, and of course everyone loves it. Now I did roast a chicken fresh to put in this. Normally I'll use some leftover chicken, but since I was doubling it, I decided to make a whole chicken. You all know I love to use my hands. I used to shy away from that because I got a lot of criticism for it on here, but you're just gonna have to see it. I use my hands and it's always been just fine. Day 6 was stuffed bell peppers. Now here's a little secret about making stuffed bell peppers. You can put any leftovers from your fridge into a bell pepper, top it with cheese, and you'll have a meal. So I start this process by cutting bell peppers in half. I have a little guest in my video. And roasting them in the oven until they are mostly soft. We'll go back in, adding a little bit of coconut oil to help them to roast. And then I cooked up some quinoa I had to also add to the peppers. And then I took a bunch of leftovers. So I had some ground beef from a lunch during the week. I had some sweet potatoes. And then I just added some salsa and kind of made a leftover concoction. Now I added my cooked quinoa and some feta cheese to really flavor it up. Of course, salt, pepper, herbs, all that good stuff. Packed them nice and tightly and topped them with some shredded cheese. Now I topped Boone and mine with some jalapenos, but not the kids. Day 7, we had taco leftovers. Again, I had more leftovers in my fridge, and I just took some corn tortilla shells. I like to make my own homemade sourdough ones, but for today, I just used some store-bought corn ones, threw some leftovers that I had in the fridge, and a little bit of sliced prosciutto that I also had on hand, and just kind of mixed it all up, put it in corn tortillas, and topped it with cheese. That's always a good way to use up any leftover produce you have, like if you have a bunch of peppers to do with, or you have just some random chicken or ground beef. I find that if you stuff them in a corn tortilla shell or into a pepper, and you add cheese and some herbs and salt and pepper and flavorings, you're gonna have something delicious. Now again, I serve sliced jalapenos. Me and Luke, we love to keep jalapenos on hand just because it makes all food just taste so much better for the adults, of course. I like to warm my corn tortillas in butter. I do this on 4 skillets on the stove. Now I almost always set off the smoke detector because I get 4 skillets going really hot and do it really fast. But it's worth it because you get it done really quick. Now sometimes I like to do my tacos where I add the filling, I add cheese, and then I put them in a 9x13 dish and bake them. It's just a really easy way to serve them to kids versus everyone making their own. And then nobody really complains about what they see go in it. They just know they have a cheesy tortilla-y concoction and it tastes like a taco. And I don't know why there is a Paw Patrol dog sitting there on my counter. Now what I'm filling it with tonight is the leftover filling from my peppers, it looks like, plus prosciutto, plus peppers. And we had a few leftover bell peppers as well, and I just cooked them in a cast iron skillet. Sometimes I'll bake them in a 9x13. All right, so that is my what we ate in a week. Now I'm currently in the process of filming another one of those for probably next week when I get it all edited. It's something that really I should do more often because all I have to do is just get out my camera, put it on while I'm cooking, something that I'm already doing. So let me know if you like these kinds of videos. I really could make them a lot more often, and maybe it'll give you some ideas of what we actually make here and how I incorporate my recipes and my style of cooking into our everyday life. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you are brand new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I make 2 new videos every week on food from scratch, natural living, and a handmade home. Thank you so much for stopping by the farmhouse.